Good day everyone, and welcome to another short video on core skills for project managers and engineers. And in this video, we're going to be talking about scope and scope management. Once again, we're going to be doing that by asking the question, what it is, why it's important, and how do you do it? So scope, what is it? What is scope management? Well, scope can be defined as the sum total of all the products or services or outcomes to be provided. Now you can refer to the project scope, which is everything, all the outcomes that the project needs to deliver, or you can talk about the product scope, which is the sum total of all the features and functionality which the product or outcome needs to deliver. And scope management is the very deliberate process of managing that understanding, managing that definition of the scope. Now, why is this important? Scope and scope management is critical to success because firstly, it helps to articulate, but also it helps to manage expectations. Expectations between the party buying the service and the party providing the service. It helps to make sure that the parties' expectations are aligned and therefore that there will not be any disappointments come delivery or payment. Secondly, scope and scope management is important because it creates the basis for change and change management. If you don't know what you need to deliver, how can you then manage any changes to that? And then thirdly, scope and scope management is important because it establishes an equitable base between the buyer and the seller, be it from a commercial, a contractual, or just a relational aspect. It helps to bring those expectations, like we said previously, into balance, and that what the person is buying is indeed what he's getting. So how do you do scope? How do you define scope and do scope management? Well, firstly, like in most things in engineering and in projects, we would advise you not to do it alone. Don't try and attempt to define your scope by yourself. Gather your team, gather your subject matter experts, and collectively think it through and define it. Secondly, define your scope by articulating a well-articulated, well-defined scope statement. That is a narrative of what you understand needs to be delivered, the outcomes that the project or the product needs to provide. And there we want to refer you to the 6 core elements of a good scope statement. What are you going to deliver, the deliverables? What do you need to receive, the receivables? Your inclusions, what are you going to include? Your exclusions, what you are not going to do. Your assumptions and your constraints. If you include these 6 elements as a minimum, you are well on your way to a good scope statement. And then thirdly, if you've got a good scope statement, now you need to use your team and unpack that into the smaller units of deliverables or services that you need to provide. In other words, decompose that scope. In project management terms, we refer to the work breakdown structure or the product breakdown structure. Start decomposing that scope statement into the smaller chunks. Think about a car. How do you break down a car? Well, you've got the chassis, then you've got the engine, you've got the steering, you've got the braking system, and if you take the engine and you break the engine down, well, there you've got the pistons, you've got the engine block, you've got the fuel lines, and you get the picture. So by decomposing the scope into its smaller portions, you get a feel for all the puzzle pieces which you need to deliver. If you need a little bit more help, you want to know more, then be sure to have a look at our micro learning course on scope management. Well, that's it. We'll see you again when we will be touching on another core skill for project managers and engineers. See you soon. Cheers.